In one sentence, what does your company offer?
We are an outsourced CMO and marketing team to brands.
Okay. So we're going to start with the rapid fire round. The first question is, at what age do you want to retire?
I don't want to retire.
Work from home or work from office?
Probably home.
How long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
15 minutes.
In one sentence, describe to me a problem that your company is facing.
A declining economy.
Your favorite SaaS software tool?
Captio.
Most embarrassing moment of your life?
Ooh, most embarrassing moment. I don't get embarrassed that easily.
Who's Peter Thiel?
A VC.
The first movie that comes to your mind when I say the word ambition?
Now it's Social Network because he's in it and
Your favorite app?
Captio.
Best no-code tool you use?
Best no-code tool, Captio.
Okay. How many hours of sleep can you survive on?
Survive 4 or 5, but thrive 7 to 8.
Okay. Fill in the blank. An upcoming marketing trend is blank.
AI and SMS.
The city in which the best kiss of your life happened?
Los Angeles.
Pick one, Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey?
Mark Zuckerberg.
When did you last cry and why?
Oof. Over my dad's passing a couple months ago.
The biggest mistake of your career?
Biggest mistake, giving too much trust to executives and not trusting, but validating and verifying.
Okay. How do you relax?
A lot of different ways. I'm a hobby junkie, work out, and then just like to hang out with the family sometimes.
How many speakers can you name from this conference?
1.
You want to name him?
Actually 2, myself and Mike Asher, because he's speaking with.
Okay. How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Almost none, except for when I travel overseas and I do a cup in the morning.
A habit of yours that you hate?
Habit of mine that I hate. Don't really have that. I have a lot of willpower, so I usually cut those.
The most valuable skill you've learned in life?
Valuable skill I've learned in life. To be a doer, I'd say, to actually get things done myself.
And the last rapid fire question, your favorite Netflix show?
Favorite Netflix show? I want to start the newest Stranger Things, but I haven't yet. But that probably would be it. There's a few great ones, but probably Stranger Things.
Okay, that's the end of the rapid fire round. You didn't have any passes, so that was amazing. So we're going to go on to the longer questions. The first one is, could you tell a little bit more about the Hawke Method?
Yeah, so we've worked with almost 4,000 companies at this point and have run marketing for them and grown a lot of them successfully. And so through that, between that and probably analyzing around 40,000 companies' marketing, we developed a methodology of how to ascertain where the low-hanging fruit is and where the opportunities are in marketing very quickly, because we have to on an ongoing basis for our clients. And through years and years and years of developing that, it started to become a framework that we taught our team, that we used over and over again, and we saw that it worked, and it worked really well. And so after, again, years, I was approached to write a book, and they were like, what would you write it on? And that's when we really distilled it into this methodology, which is about sort of the 3 principles of marketing: awareness, nurturing, and trust, and how it fits like a tripod, and basically how to constantly monitor your marketing. And it's really built for heads of marketing, CEOs, people that really want to understand that overall framework. So it's not necessarily like an individual tactic book. It has a little bit of that, but it's more about that overall framework to work in so that you can constantly understand where your opportunities are in your marketing strategy.
And how have you, over your career, learned to figure out where the low-hanging fruit is?
Yeah, so I think like most things, it's about simplifying it, which is a hard thing to do. Like I think it was Mark Twain that talks about like short story is much harder to write than a long story. And it's the same kind of idea as how like if you want to spend the next month analyzing a marketing strategy, you can probably come up with some things. But what if you have 30 minutes to really figure out what to be paying attention to and where to work? And so the idea is, we created a way to do that where, again, it's about these 3 principles. And we really do believe these are the 3 categories of marketing that all drive into a successful marketing campaign. So awareness, how do you building new awareness for your brand? Introducing new potential customers to your company. Nurturing, what do you do once they're aware you exist to actually bring them in and turn them into a customer? And then what do you do post-purchase to bring them back? And then trust, 75% of consumers won't buy from a company they don't inherently trust. So how are you building that trust? Before you have a brand that people know and you have that awareness, trust comes from third-party validation. So influencers, referrals, reviews, etc. And so then what we do is we look at all the leading indicators that show that those things are covered. And we look at benchmarking, meaning like, how do you compare to companies in your industry? And so between those two things, and this is a proprietary software tool we've built, we're able to go, okay, so based on your company and your industry, you're not doing very well on this number. Well, what's driving that number? Well, that's a nurturing number. And through nurturing, you're probably like, let's look at your email marketing, your SMS, your content, your website, all these different things. Here's the number that's off. That's what we need to fix. We need to fix your website. So it's about going down the checklist from starting at the top, like which category, to then which channel, to then, okay, there's the fix.
Mm-hmm. And how do you relate this to your concept of CMO in a box?
Yeah. So two ways. One, the company, we started as basically fractional CMO work and then built out into executing all the different strategies we were implementing as well. And so now we have teams of Facebook marketers, email marketers, web designers, et cetera. This tool, and so this is something actually we haven't announced yet. We're building a tool now that takes the Hawke Method, takes this benchmarking, takes all this, and creates automated insights that truly is going to be a CMO in a box software-wise. Currently, it's done manually through fractional CMOs, people that we have on staff.
And what is Hawke Fest about?
Hawke Fest.
We've been reading hashtag Hawke Fest things. So what is that about?
Yeah. So I realized literally before I really started Hawke that there wasn't really a meetup for e-commerce professionals in LA, and where was one of the hotbeds of e-commerce. So I started doing a monthly happy hour that got really popular really fast, and hundreds of people would show up. And then a few years into that, I think it was 3, decided to do a one-day event for e-commerce C-suites in LA and really make it fun and engaging. And the idea was to have fun, network, and learn. And so we made it. We curated the audience. We made it really fun and compelling. I thankfully had a decent network to make some great speakers and celebrities and things like that. We did it 3 years in a row before partnering with the city of LA to then create e-commerce week, which is a full week of e-commerce events. And then COVID hit, so we've done it virtually for 2 years.
And do you think it's hard getting an online community to be consistent?
Yes. Online communities are very hard. I mean, our first year doing Ecom Week was 8,000 people. The second year was 4,000 people, not because anybody had bad reviews, but because when the world is open, people don't necessarily want to just sit online. When everyone's stuck at home, online's really compelling and those communities thrive. But the moment the world opens up, you saw it with Clubhouse, the app. Like literally the month everybody started going back outside, all of a sudden no one's on Clubhouse anymore.
So what would be a solution to trying to make a community? Because a lot of marketers are now, a lot of companies are trying to make communities. Some of them are just buying them because it's so hard to build them. So what is the solution, you think?
In person, it matters just as much. That's why we do in-person events too. It's hard, we're a global business. We have offices in China and Philippines and Canada and the US and the UK, and we still throw an event in LA because even if people are flying in, or even if you can only grab that core audience, I think it's a lot harder to build community online, just as much as it's hard to build community through a virtual company, which we are now too. That it is a lot more difficult. That doesn't mean it's not doable and that the cost isn't worth the reward, but you have to add in person. Just we're biologically, that's where we really build relationships.
Okay, and talking about the company again, what do you mean by Hawke Media Agency, but with an S?
Agency. I don't know where that came from. Sorry.
From the Twitter feed, but I think, we can skip that question. So you're headquartered in Santa Monica, extreme west side of the US, yet here you are at a Euro-based conference. What is your intended presence in Europe and how do you intend to get there?
Yeah, so we, in February, acquired an agency in the UK and partnered up with a man named Will Tickle that is now our head of Europe, and we're looking to expand throughout Europe. And so we've created this concept of very nimble, flexible, accessible, great marketing solutions. Like that is the mission of Hawke Media is to create accessibility to great marketing, because what we found in the industry is 99% of marketing agencies have no idea what they're doing. And the 1% that are good are really expensive, want long contracts, high minimums, et cetera. And so we just wanted to solve that by saying, let's be good at what we do, but really easy to work with. Like not that novel of a concept, but frankly, in our industry, it is. And so we did that in the US, grew incredibly fast. And now, with 300 people, we should start looking at where else in the world this can help. And we've already worked with a lot of European and Asian brands to come to the US. Now we want to start working on that same model in Europe. And so we found a great partner. We're able to get to a deal and now spent the past few months integrating and soon enough are really kicking off growth out here. So we're starting in the UK, but we're looking at actually our next target is the Netherlands. We'll see how that works because opportunity has to arise as well. But we are really excited about being in the Netherlands as well.
And speaking of clients and partners, could you name us one client that you've loved working with, an interesting case study about a client?
Yeah. So another little anecdote about Hawke is we started doing a lot of angel investing about a year in, turned into a small venture fund, a $5 million fund, which then turned into a $50 million second fund. And we had a client for, at that point, 3 years called The Sill. It's a plant company that we took from, a small little New York-based online direct-to-consumer plant company to, tens of millions of dollars in revenue, really solid company. And they went to raise some money, and one of my marketing managers that was managing it calls me and goes, "Hey, I don't want to do this behind your back. Would you be okay if I invested in one of our clients?" Like, tell me more. And so he ended up investing. We invested in the company. And since then, they've grown massively, and they've become one of the biggest online plant companies. And we've been able to be their marketing team, plus give them funding, plus advise for them. And it's just been an awesome partnership. And it's a woman-led business. It's really impressive business. And so that's been a great one.
All right. And the last question is, what would you be doing if not this?
I don't know, which is really funny because we've been offered to sell the company many times, and I haven't because I can't answer that question. If I knew what I wanted to do, if there was an alternative, if I sold, let's say Hawke failed or I sold, I'd probably be working on the investing side for a while. But I will say, because we have the fund, investing's too slow for me. I like it as a part of what I do, but it's not fast paced enough for me to keep me interested and passionate on just that. So the way I do it now is I have a business to operate, and then I also get to invest. And so to do one or the other binarily doesn't sound that enticing. So I think the other thing is, I joke all the time, I am just one, rough decision away from owning a taco shop on the beach in Mexico. So it could swing the far other way, that if I wasn't doing this, I'd just be surfing.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of the interview.